everybody. It's a pleasure. Thanks for the invite. Actually, my second time. Today we are going to present a solution that we have developed together with one of our startups, and a startup which is called NavVis. They are based out of Munich. And actually what we have done is we have combined from Esri, our outdoor experience and expertise with their indoor experience. But let me shortly introduce ourselves. My name is Lars Schmitz. I'm responsible for our developer technologies, just in case you're curious, and I'm also heading our startup activities in Germany in particular, and Europe in general. I don't know, just out of curiosity, who is running his own business? Who is running a startup? Okay, cool. So maybe you get some inspiration from me here. I'm not alone. Actually, I'm running the show together with my colleague Alex. He's product specialist, and we are working in the same team. A few words about my company. I'm working for Esri. We are a global manufacturer of geographic information systems. We are not new, we are not a startup, we are actually around for quite a few years. If you have ever heard the term ArcGIS, I skipped that question, then it's Esri behind that technology. We are doing business worldwide, we have a huge partner network and a lot of partners. In case you're interested in our company, just check out the URL here. But now let's go to the project that I wanted to introduce you to. We are running a startup program. The background for this is that we depend on innovation. We do a lot for that, and one of the ways we take care of innovation is by means of partnering up with innovative startups. That's not new, but we do that as well. During these activities, we came across a company called NavVis. It's actually a spin-off of Technical University in Munich. University with pretty high reputation, and this company here, they focus on indoor mapping and navigation. Actually what they do is they have developed a solution that consists both of hardware and software components. They do this pretty successful. I don't know if you follow startup news. They recently got their B series, a bit more than 8 million euros, which is a lot for German scales. So doing pretty well. Meanwhile, they have built up a team of 70 employees, full-time employees. So I would say that they are at the border of actually becoming serious business. And what they do is they focus on indoor mapping, I should say that. So at the end, they really facilitate the process of digitizing and mapping the indoors. That is in most cases the challenge. Whoever has, I don't know, whoever of you is doing business in that area, that is the first, for sure, and in a lot of cases the most painful step to actually understand the outdoors. We are very good in understanding the indoors. We are very good in understanding the outdoors, but indoors is still a digital treasure and something that needs to be exploited. The way they did this is a visual approach, so it's not, they don't rely on physical infrastructure that typically gets installed, which is very expensive to maintain. Instead, they have developed that trolley here. It's a device that has been industrially designed that can be operated by, I would say, normal people, and that you actually push through your indoors, and that then scans your whole environment. How does it do that? It actually uses laser scans and generates point clouds. It scans your Wi-Fi. It takes panoramic photos of your environment, the magnetic field of the Earth, and a couple of other signals. The GPS, of course, if it's available, which normally is not the case in most. So it collects a lot of sensor data, fuses them, and digests them, and makes that data available through cloud services. Once that information is available, you can actually start to consume that information either through an indoor view, which is a normal web-based application, or, and that's only got released recently, navigation apps either for iOS or Android. Yeah, I don't want to bore you with technical details, maybe just to give you a few impressions before we actually dive into the project, the combination of indoor and outdoor. But I can tell you that this device actually is super interesting for people who actually had a discussion with him. If there's one big advantage of this device is that you can easily scan a whole building, even bigger buildings, in a day or two. So it is very, very convenient to actually conquer, if you want, your buildings in a very limited period of time. They have a very high accuracy, and at the end it's also, as I said, very easy and intuitive to use. We shouldn't forget that we are professionals. I bet most of you also have geo background, but in a lot of cases, if you run a shopping mall or if you run a factory or things like that, you don't have a geo background. So, but it's still important that you can generate that data and that you make it available to your end users. That is why I personally find that solution also very attractive. It's not a pure data acquisition device. It also has a little computer on board. It's a Linux-based system that does some data processing. It does some data validation, and it also generates first output formats for further use. An impression from a typical use case that the company realizes today. This is the Deutsche Museum in Munich. It's a visitor guidance. It's pretty handy because actually what they do here is they guide people not only physically in Munich, but people around the world now can actually start to visit that museum. The application actually adds new functionality, and maybe you already have noticed that. You can tag points of interest. It's actually simply a tag that you digitally add to your point cloud, which you then, where you then add extra metadata, like this is a ship, it was built this and then. You can add hyperlinks so that you can hook up with your content management system to stream in videos, text, or whatever you want. Go to external websites. And what you also eventually also have noticed is that once they have generated the point cloud, they can use that point cloud to generate routing graphs, which makes it very easy and handy to actually assist people indoors and make them find their ways from A to B, or to particular points of interest. Another snapshot here, this time a mobile app. What I should mention again, just to make that point very clear, they don't require any infrastructure, so it's a pure visual approach. And it's, in most cases, they get meter accuracy. Depending on Wi-Fi or other data sources, they obviously can go down much lower. But that is, I personally find that pretty impressive. Let's switch gears now. The Campus Navigator, the topic we wanted to cover today. We found that very interesting, that approach, and we said, okay, NavVis, you do a great job. We are going to run our own venue. It's a user conference that we organize annually. We have 1,700 visitors that all have to make their way in the venue that we use, that have to find their way to the venue, that have to find the right rooms for the right presentations and so forth. So we thought, why don't we simply hook up with NavVis and develop a solution that not only allows them to get assisted indoors, but also outdoors. And that obviously is our strength as a company. Right? So we came up with a solution called Campus Navigator. I still would tend to call that a solution. It is not product, it's still not on a product level, but it is pretty mature, I would say, and usable. What is it? I think it's much better to just show you an online level. So here you go, the web application. As I said, at that time when we started the development, the native APIs didn't exist yet, so we had to go for the web solution. I would say it looks pretty ordinary. It's a traditional two-dimensional map, nothing special. You get that zoom extent. You see a few buildings. The red one here is actually the venue where we organized our user conference. And once you hover over with your mouse over the buildings, you see that they get highlighted. That kind of gives you an indication that there's something going on. Another thing that immediately pops up is a search bar, and I just will go through a typical use case now for visitors. Say I would be interested in visiting one of the developer tracks, then I would actually go there, and here we have realized a search that is connected with the agenda for the user conference. That could be anything. It also could be rooms, or it could be points of interest, or whatever you feel makes sense. In that case, it's just a custom widget that we have developed to assist users with the search possibility. Now, I said I'm interested in developers. Here's my track. Actually, so I can highlight that. And then I can say, I want to see that. And here comes the interesting part. Here actually comes the indoor part, and that is where it becomes, I would say, a bit more sexy. We now switch view as we would do in a role-play game. We change from an outer view into an indoor view, and we also change from 2 dimensions to 3 dimensions. It's a virtual, all of a sudden it's a VR experience now. Zoom level is a bit irritating, we still need to fix that, but I guess you get the point here. It's actually, I'm standing as a visitor in front of the room. I can see my environment, I can start to examine where I am. I can also have a look at the room if I want. And that is actually, at the end of the day, it's a user experience as you know it from Google Street View, for example, right? It's from that point of view, I would say exact copy. But that makes a lot of sense because people are used to that, and why try to push them to something new, they are familiar with that. You can see that I have navigation points here, not in the room because it didn't get scanned, but if you go to the floor, for example, you see these navigation points. Now that looks interesting, it's the place I want to go to. I have an understanding of how it looks like. Let's route here, right? And that is now where it becomes interesting. It actually starts to route me internally. So far, I'm still in the building. It is using the starting point in that building. So the route is pretty trivial, it's super short. But let's change my starting point, right? Let's assume that I just arrived in Munich at the airport, or that let's say I'm starting from home because I'm living close to Munich. Let's see how the application can assist me with that. That's my hometown, Ismaning, and say I'm the mayor of Ismaning. So I will take the Rathaus there and ask the system to actually route me from my hometown to that particular building. If I switch back to the classical map view, you can now see that I nicely get routed from, as you know, from routing systems, but that the system also, let's go here, see, that's as you know today, but then once I arrive at the building, we have so-called transition points, doors, right? And once I get beyond such a transition point, I actually get into the building and then can start to follow that route as I know from Google Street. And that's the whole point of the application. Make it as easy and make it seamlessly between Windows and Outlook. We also have other ways. You can, of course, also start for exhibitors if you want. You can, for example, if you're interested in our partner here, you can start that as a starting point. You can use the agenda as you've seen it in the search box. You can set your own bookmarks and so forth, but that is, I'm sure, functionality that you're familiar with. And that's the point, and I can tell you that our users at the end really loved it because it was innovative, it was sexy, and really assistant on site. You've seen that? How much time do I have? In total? Okay. Well, then I skip the rest. If you're more interested in the functionality and things like that, user experience, business models, things like that, then just contact me after the discussion. I now hand over to my colleague Alex, who is running you through a bit more of the technical background on how we actually build it.
Hello. As Lars said before, the Campus Navigator is not just a web application, it's a solution. And here you can see the main components. The indoor data is coming from NavVis and they are published as a service. The point cloud and the pictures are coming through a streaming service. The data for indoor routing, edges or nodes is accessible through a REST API. The other data is based on OSM, OpenStreetMap, or they're coming as free, ready-to-use services from ArcGIS Online. ArcGIS Online is the public cloud from Esri. The app has been created with the web app builder for ArcGIS, and it has been extended with own widgets. Here you can see the workflow, how we build indoor-outdoor, the CNAP, indoor and outdoor network data set. The starting point is an OpenStreetMap planet file, which we must filter. In this OpenStreetMap file, are a lot of data, like buildings, PUIs, something like that, and streets in what we're interested in.
Yeah, so I don't know who's familiar with OpenStreetMap. It's a huge database. Here, the whole purpose of that exercise is to generate a network, a routable network. That's why we used OpenStreetMap data. So we actually got the whole planet file, we boiled it down from a regional point of view. We weren't interested in the whole world. That was far beyond the possibilities of that proof of concept. We just focused on Bavaria for the sake of that demo. And we also obviously wanted to get rid of all the data that we didn't need. That's the point here. Yeah, okay. So the next step, so that is the first step. Get the OpenStreetMap data, filter it down. Then we had to convert it to file-based geodatabase, which is an Esri format for storing data. We had to prepare the network, which I will skip for the sake of the time. We included further non-OpenStreetMap data, and then we, for example, well, you can read it here, we had, for example, to manually add transitions because the OpenStreetMap data still doesn't know where you can actually enter buildings, so we had to manually edit those data. Then we had to generate a routable network, which is a very specific data format, and deploy it as a web service again to one of our server components, ArcGIS for server, so that service then could be used from within our application. Actually, it could be used from any application. No. That's the whole secret. So it's based on OpenStreetMap data, which is a good thing. We have made that's correct, right? It's on GitHub now. Yeah, we have made the whole project available on GitHub. We can point you there as well if you're interested, or if you want to play with it yourself, to generate your own solutions, for example, for Berlin. Some more technical details, I don't know, you probably don't give me more time to run 1 minute? Okay. Well, just reach out to me if you want. We had a bad time management actually, to be honest. Maybe one last hint on the generation of the routing network. Esri is maintaining a GitHub project called OSM Editor. That is a project that is already mature, I would say. Another hint for you, if you feel like you want to work with OSM data, but if you want to boil it down or customize it the way you need, then just try to find that tool on GitHub and play with it. It can really save you some time. Yeah, I'm sorry, but yeah, I already said that. Some resources, if you're interested in the Esri startup program, reach out to me, probably the best, or go to a website which where you actually can find the URL at the end. If you want to play with our developer tools, go to that developer site, and as said, thanks for your time and reach out to us afterwards.